I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. This is the Alcohol Mastery Podcast, session 15. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I'm doing a video version of this now. So I'm out walking. It's just got a bit boring. Sat inside. I mean, I sit inside a lot when I'm working on the website, and it's just nice to get out and get down into the hills and stuff. So rather than sitting inside and doing this, I know it might be a bit dark, so I don't know if you can see me yet. It's just after 7 in the morning. So yeah, I thought I'd just do a video podcast. So the first question today is, I'll be reading the questions and comments if I can see them. How do I drink when my partner, or how do I not drink when my partner drinks? You know, at the end of the day, you can only look after yourself. You can only deal with your side of this, you know. You can't either force anyone else to stop drinking. You can't make them do it because you want to do it, you know, make people live your picture of life. You know, when I quit, my partner said to me that was it. She'd help me in every way that she could, but she wasn't going to stop. That she enjoyed her wine or a glass of beer, and she wasn't a heavy drinker. I mean, I think I've seen her drunk once in all the time that I've been with her. So, you know, she drinks for whatever reason she drinks, you know, that's her affair. You know, and it made it a bit tough at the beginning. It obviously does. You know, one of the things that I try and tell people is to get rid of as much of the booze as they can, get rid of the paraphernalia, all the rubbish that surrounds your wine and beer. I mean, for me, a lot of the times when I was drinking my beer, it was straight out of the can, so there was no need to get rid of glasses or any of that kind of stuff. But it helps. So, you know, a lot of people, when they change, they want the world around them to change as well. And it's just not going to change. I mean, the alcohol is there. The alcohol advertising is there. You know, the alcohol might not be in your home. You might be able to get rid of it out of your house, but it's still going to be in the shops. You're still going to see it everywhere. And you've got to get your mind around the fact that you don't drink anymore. You've got to make the commitment to doing that. And you've got to say to yourself, regardless of what else happens outside of me, this is what's in my control. This is what I can do for myself. And no matter what anyone else does around me, this is what I'm going to do, you know. As soon as you start depending your success on other people or outside circumstances, problems, I'll stop drinking unless this happens, or it's too hard for me to stop drinking because they're still drinking. It's too hard for me to stop drinking because it's not the right time, right? It's too hard for me to stop drinking because I don't know any other way to relax or de-stress, or I feel awkward at celebrations. Any of these things just decrease your power to do anything. You know, and the more you take away from your power to do anything, at the end of the day, the greater chances of your failure. So you've got to take 100% responsibility for everything that happens from now on in. You commit to quitting. You say, I'm not drinking. And be proud of the fact. You know, when I go out now, I'm proud that I can say I'm a non-drinker, you know, to anyone who asks. And whatever way they think about it is their problem. It's not mine. Whatever they do in their own time is their problem. Whatever they put into their bodies is their own problem. I'm trying to live my life as best I can, you know, to become the best possible version of myself as I can. And I can't do that if I'm all the time relying on other people's opinion or what other people are doing, because at the end of the day, other people are going to do what other people are going to do. They have their own version of life and they're going to live that. So, there is no magic bullet here. The only magic bullet that you've got is what's up here in your head, and the fact that you can think to yourself, no matter what they do, I don't care. I'm not going to make an excuse. I'm going to push through it. I'm going to do the things that I need to do to get myself into the position where I want to be, and nothing is going to stop me. And only you then can allow those things outside of yourself to stop you. So that's that question anyway. Next one. This is an actual comment from Alcohol Mastery. It said, thanks Kevin, this is the best so far. They're talking about alcohol drinking. None are so blind as those who refuse to see. Go back to the last video, the last question that I had. I don't want to be labelled an alcoholic because I quit drinking. That's nuts. However, it's what has made me continue long after I wanted to stop my nightly wine habit. My father was an alcoholic, so I've always feared being labelled, not for drinking, but for not drinking. Wow, that sounds stupid. This video opened my eyes. I never tell anyone I'm a vegetarian. Nobody deserves an explanation about why I'm eating a veggie burger instead of a beef burger. And nobody needs an explanation about why I am not having wine. Keep up the videos. You never know when you will say the exact right thing to someone. Thanks again. I think that's the thing with most things. If you just talk enough, eventually you're going to put an idea into somebody's head that they can relate to. But thinking about this thing of explaining yourself, nobody needs to explain themselves to anyone. I think a big portion of people who are who've decided to quit drinking alcohol, for a start, elevate this problem into something that it's not, right? Which I believe it's not, right? It's this huge alcohol problem, right? Because you're doing something which nobody else can do, or you're doing something which everyone else seems to be able to handle, but you're not able to handle this. There is something wrong with you in your mind, something wrong in your brain, right? So therefore you are this label, alcoholic, for the rest of your life, right? I think most people don't believe that about themselves. And it's a label that's forced on them by, as I say, other people. For me, one of the best ways of approaching this is to look at it from the perspective of you're trying to improve your life, and getting rid of alcohol is a natural progression in that improvement, right? It doesn't have to be anything more than that. You don't have to explain it in any other way. And when you look at it logically, that's exactly what you're doing. I mean, think about what you are doing when you're drinking alcohol. Alcohol is a poison, right? It's the product of decomposing vegetable matter, right? Whether that vegetable matter happens to be grapes or potatoes or hops or whatever it happens to be, right? What you're putting into your mouth is the product of that decomposition. So it's a waste matter, it's toxic matter, it's something that your body automatically, as soon as you put it into it, tries to reject it, right? Through various different means, right? Either you vomit the stuff out, or it gives you the signals that this is not right, that something is wrong here, screws around with your head. People don't look at drunkenness in the right way. They look at it from the cultural way. Drunkenness is a part of, this is just what happens after you drink alcohol, and drunkenness is fun, right? There's lots of different perversions out there in the world, right, where people think that they're fun. There's people that enjoy pain. And I don't think that that's something that they're born with. I think it's something that they develop throughout their lives, and it's whatever pathway they're taking down through their experiences and behavior, it eventually leads to different types of perversions. And I think that this is, to put it bluntly, drinking a toxin to make yourself feel this way is a form of perversion, right? So it's a natural thing to sort of say to yourself at a certain time in your life, when you start getting, you start understanding, you feel the consequences of this, right? The long-term consequences, the damage that's actually being done to your body and your mind, your life, your relationships, everything around you, I talk about, a lot of the time, 3.5 million people every year dying, and over 200 different medical conditions caused. And that, for me, is the tip of the iceberg, because if you look around and you see all the damage that's done through alcohol, at least 50% of crimes are caused when somebody's been drinking alcohol, violent crimes especially. How many different conditions are caused by alcohol but are not actually reported as being alcohol related? How many wives get digs off their husband because they're drunk? How much marital abuse is caused because of alcohol? So I'm saying, you get to a stage in your life where you start thinking, well, this is something which, as I'm thinking about it now, makes no fucking sense at all, right? Putting this poison into my body, what it's doing to me, what it has done to me in my life, and I'm still doing it, and I'm going, I can't stop doing it. I can't figure out how to not do it, Don't put the stuff into your mouth. That's how you stop doing it, and you put up with the discomfort, right? We're awash with bullshit about, you can't quit on your own. You can't quit without having some sort of medical attention, because you are at risk of having a seizure. Granted, there's a lot of people that are at risk of going through severe symptoms and side effects because they're stopping drinking. And it's not because they've just stopped drinking, it's because of the amount of alcohol that they've been pushing into their fucking bodies before they try to stop, If you are constantly and consistently just drinking and putting yourself out of it, for whatever reason you're doing it, as soon as you're trying to stop, your body is obviously going to have an adverse reaction to that. The alcohol is keeping you going. So it's a different subject, and I'm not going to go down that route, but I'm just saying that when you get to a certain stage in your life and you start realizing that alcohol is no good for you, you're still stuck with the behavior, you're still stuck with the habit, and it's the habit and the behavior that is difficult to overcome, because you're trying to, it's a day-by-day thing. Once you stop drinking, then you've got to replace all the rest of it, replace all the gaps and all that kind of stuff. But we heighten up the, we get suckered down into the labeling, of being an alcoholic, and being sober now that you don't drink. You're not sober before you don't call yourself sober before you started drinking. So why should you call yourself sober after you stop drinking? Call yourself, recovery is, I don't like the word, because it's loaded with a lot of different baggage. It's just a polluted word, right, that we take into ourselves, and it just means that we're stuck into that same mind frame of AA type thinking. I'm an alcoholic, I live in an alcoholic society, I can't get away from this drinking, if I drink one more, it's back into the fray. So you do yourself the best justice by just saying to yourself right at the beginning, this is a part of my life which I'm trying to change, right? I'm trying to change this part of my life, and I know that once I get rid of this, that there are other areas of my life that I'm going to have to change. Some of those are to do with alcohol, some of them are not, right? For me, there was the alcohol, right? The cigarettes I got rid of a long time ago, but just say I hadn't, so say I was smoking as well. So it would have been the cigarettes and the alcohol, but it was the alcohol. Then it was, I found myself with a lot more energy, so it was trying to get out there and figure out how I was going to get rid of this energy. I wanted to exercise more. I knew that as you get older, you start to stiffen up, right? So I wanted to bring in a lot of stretching, and yoga was the thing that I wanted to bring in. I wanted to do something spiritual, right? You know, not going to church or anything like that, but just something where I could sort of get to know my inner self rather than, you know, knowledge on the outside is great. I mean, I love education, but I think knowledge about yourself, you know, thinking about yourself is a great, is one of the best educations that you can have, you know, because, you know, knowing yourself, if you can know yourself fully, you can deal with almost anything, you know. So, you know, that for me was meditation, and then nutrition was another one, trying to, you know, just deal with so much shit that we put into our bodies, and I wanted to personally deal with that. So there's, you know, different levels, and there's other different things, you know, minor things that I won't go into here, that I wanted to deal with as well, you know. And as I say, some of those are related to alcohol, some of them weren't. But you look at it, at getting rid of alcohol or quitting smoking as just a part of the process. This is just a part of you going from where you are now to where you want to be, and alcohol has to be one of those things that you need to get rid of in order to get to that place, you know. You know, it's a big part of it, because if you don't do it, you're all the time taking one step forward, two steps back. You're never moving forward, you know. The alcohol habit is going to get worse and worse, and it's going to have more of an effect as you get older, because your body is much more sensitive as you get older. But if you look at it like that, from that perspective, instead of focusing all your attention on the alcohol and focusing other people's attention on the alcohol, and then you know, you're in a much better position to move forwards. As soon as you start, you know, if you say, well, I'm just quitting the drinking because I was drinking too much, right? Then it automatically focuses other people's attention on the fact that you've got a problem with alcohol, with nothing else but with alcohol, right? And it also puts that notion into your own head. Now, you know as well as I do that it's not just about the alcohol. It's, as I say, it's different areas of your life which need to change, right? And alcohol might be a fulcrum which many of these areas spin, but it's not the only area. So, you know, you do yourself an injustice by focusing on the alcohol, you know. So anyway, I'm going to go on to the next question, because you know, that was it's just something I wanted to say. You know, if a lot of people just focus a lot of their time on that word, on alcoholic, and it does you so much injustice, does you so much damage in terms of keeping you locked into the old alcohol thinking and locked into that behavior, you know. So next question was a comment. Your body and brain needs animal protein. The flies are going mad here at the moment. I don't know, it's got the end of the summer, and I seem to have a lot of different flies. Anyway, sorry, your body and brain need animal protein, right? Wrong, right? Again, it's one of these things that, you know, most people are being led around like sheep. You know, it's you know, this is a trick that the meat industry or the dairy industry or the food industry in general have put out, that you need to have animal proteins in order to be strong, right? To have muscles and stuff like that. I'm 6'2", right? I have not eaten meat or very, very little dairy products in 4.5 years, right? It's actually just over 4 years, actually, because it was July, August, the year that I stopped, so it's just over 4 years. I haven't eaten any meat, and I'm still a big lad, you know what I mean? And it's not all fat. I've got a bit of fat on me, but I've got a bit of muscle on me, you know? I'm joining the gym on Sunday. I'm going back, and I've got a personal trainer, 20 euros an hour. Can't believe how cheap this is, you know, for this guy. This guy's from Alicante. He's Spanish, and he's won competitions in bodybuilding. He's a fit lad, you know. You know, I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to bodybuild or anything like that, but I would like to lose the fat that I've got, the excess fat that I've got, and tone everything up, you know. just for myself. I think you have to do this as well. It's another thing, as well as stretching and yoga and all that kind of stuff. You've got to keep and maintain your muscle mass as you get older, because it helps you to burn fat. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is, so it's going to burn fat quicker. And it just keeps you healthy, keeps you fit into your old age. And I'm nowhere near old age, right? I'm only 51, but it's more preventative stuff that I'm doing now, and it's trying to do stuff that I should have done years ago. As I've said many times before, I can't help where I am now. You can't help where you are now. Where you are now is where you have to start from, right? You can't start from yesterday, a year ago. You can't say, you can say to yourself all you want, I should have done this, but you can't should have done anything. You can't do that. You can't go back and should have started training in the gym 10 years ago, or should have quit drinking 10 years ago, or should have quit smoking 10 years ago. You can't do that. You can only quit smoking, quit drinking, start the gym, whatever it is you want to do now, right? So, but that's a different story, right? Going to the gym on Sunday, I'm 6'2", I'm still a big lad, right? And I've got muscle mass on me, right? As it stands. If you don't believe this, right, that you cannot put muscle on without eating meat products, then how do you explain a horse, right? The most, you look at a racehorse, right? The most muscle-bound animal, one of the most muscle-bound animals you will ever see, right? Built on strength of its muscles, running forwards and... that was a horse sound. Sorry. But how do you explain the muscles on a horse? A horse don't eat meat. A horse don't eat meat products. It doesn't eat dairy. It eats plant-based diet. Cow is the same thing. The cow that you get the beef off that you think you need to eat in order to put the muscles on. Right? Same thing. He's got muscles, or she's got muscles. Built of muscle. A gorilla, built of muscle. An elephant, built of muscle. All of these animals are vegetarians. They're all getting their protein from a plant-based diet. Cow gets its protein from the grass on the ground, right? From nowhere else. Where is a cow getting its protein from? So you have to think about these things, right? Before you say them, or most people are, like I say, being led around like sheep, right? They believe what they're told, right? Without thinking about anything. And I'm just as much at fault in my life of doing that. I didn't become a vegetarian until I was, as I say, 4 years ago. So 47 years of age. So for 47 years, I was a meat eater. And it was only when my father went into hospital and I started reading about just the different levels of nutrition, or what was the best nutrition. And I read a lot of stuff. I read a lot of blog articles, a lot of videos, and through those I read different books. And my personal conclusion was that the best diet for me was a whole foods plant-based diet, right, which is basically nothing animal at all, and no processed foods. So it's as close to the product as it comes out of the ground or off the tree, as close to its natural state as possible. That's the way I want to eat. So don't believe that you cannot get the biggest, I can't remember the guy's name offhand, right? I'll try and put it in the link below. I'm not sure if he's the world champion or he's one of the world champions up there anyway, with the top. He's a vegan, the biggest world champion bodybuilder. And there's many more bodybuilders going into that business now, thinking this is the way I'm going to do it because it's clean food. They're not eating the hormones. When you're talking about eating steak, a lot of the time you're filling yourself full of hormones that is made to make the cow grow fat, right? Not muscle, but fat. So, look, and people might say, well, yeah, but animal feed has got. There's horror stories where cows are being fed meat in their diet, in pellets form, that kind of thing. But it's not the natural diet. If you put a cow into its natural diet, it's not going to eat meat. It will never eat meat. it will only, you know, put a carcass beside it and grass, it will always choose the grass. You know, same thing with humans. You put a bunny rabbit into a room with a baby and an apple, and which one is the baby going to eat? You know, it certainly won't eat the bunny rabbit or try and eat the bunny rabbit. So anyway, you don't need protein. That's just a fact, Jack. Next question. Oh, these are going to YouTube now. Whew. These hills don't look big on the thing, but this particular stretch is fairly steep. That's why I'm sort of walking up and stopping. I don't want to do the heavy breathing as much as I can. You get a couple of people complaining about it, but hey, look, it's part and parcel of getting a free video, isn't it? You know, listen to the content and don't listen to the heavy breathing. It's not meant to be to annoy you, but if it's annoying you, I can't help you there, you know. Next one is from Avid Muir over on YouTube. I have bad anxiety on top of my alcoholism. I'm afraid my symptoms of the withdrawal might affect my health. How do I overcome the anxiety? First of all, I mean, a lot of the anxiety that you're feeling is probably caused by the alcohol in the first place, right? So continuing to drink is not only exacerbating that problem, making it worse. You know, it's caused the problem in the first place. So it's the first thing to do is to quit drinking. I mean, you can find different ways of dealing with anxiety, and much better ways of dealing with your anxiety than drinking. But most people don't want to go down that route because it takes time and energy and effort, and it causes discomfort. And people don't want to put the effort in. Now, if you're not willing to put the effort into yourself, who's going to do it for you? You know, we're all expecting to have a magical pill for everything, you know, and we're hoping that, you know, a lot of scientists are going down that route, saying, yeah, well, you know, eventually we're going to have a pill for anxiety, we'll have a pill for this, we'll have a pill for that, we'll have a pill for aging, we'll have a pill for whatever, you know. Until they get it right, where they know that they can solve these things on a genetic level, right? And not only solve this problem, but make sure that when they laser target one problem on a genetic level, that it's not also targeting the adjacent cells or the adjacent DNA, right? You know, I think they're getting to a certain stage now where they can. I was listening to a guy the other day who was talking about what was he talking about now? Curing. Was it muscular dystrophy, or it was one of those, you know, really bad diseases, right? Where, you know, there's no real opposition to them trying to cure this, you know, from the fetus now, not in adults that have got it, or, you know, people that are born with it. You know, once they're born, it's a difficult thing to solve. But from a fetal level, right, once they get into the fetus and they can start messing around with the DNA, you know, whatever your morals are on that front is a different story. But I mean, they're saying, you know, they can cure. They were talking about it from the perspective of, I think it was muscular dystrophy, but also with Down syndrome. Now, you know, I have I have a nephew who's got Down syndrome, and I wouldn't change him for the world. You know, the guy is the nicest person I know on this planet, right? And just because he's a little bit different, he looks a little bit different, right? People think that he's disabled or he should change. He's not disabled at all, you know. He's such a pleasure to be around, you know. I mean, I look forward to seeing this guy. He's in Holland, and it takes me. I don't see him. I haven't seen him now in a couple of years. But when I do see him, you know, he's a delight. You know, he's just so straightforward. You know, whatever he whatever he's thinking he says to you, and it's not bullshit. It's not evil. It's not anything. There's no badness in the guy at all. It's like his mother says he's like a perpetual kid, a good kid as well. But anyway, going off topic here. What I'm saying is that the problem is that they can isolate. They've isolated a gene for, I think it's muscular dystrophy, and they can sort of do something with that. I mean, I'm not up on the jargon, so but the problem is that not only can they do something about this particular part of the DNA, that it affects some of the surrounding DNA as well, right? And they don't know what the actual gene does, if it's got any benefit. So if they take out this particular gene, whether it is a beneficial part of it's going to be beneficial to you sometime down the road. I know I'm rambling on this one, but at the end of the day, you can't rely on this kind of stuff coming out. You can't rely on. You're much better off sort of putting up with the discomfort if you're feeling anxiety. And I know it's a difficult one to say to you. Go without your pills, or go without your booze, or go without whatever, and put up with the anxiety, and get treatment for it elsewhere, something that's not invasive, is gonna cause side effects. Doesn't rely on a pill. As you can tell, I haven't got much to say about this topic, because I really do believe that once you start taking things into your body, you start moving outside of your own realm of control. These things are, they're not controllable. You don't know what the fuck alcohol is doing inside your body, apart from it might take away the anxiety for a little bit. You don't know what a pill is doing when you're taking it for anxiety, especially pills. So the only thing that you can do is to brave out the anxiety, get some help, whether that is helping you through meditation or other forms of stress relief. There is so many different ways of doing it, that don't involve compromising your health. So, I'm just saying that, at the end of the day, once you start down this route, once you believe that alcohol is going to help you with this, it's a slide into that pit where it's very difficult to get out of. Your brain relies on it. You start to rely on it mentally, physically, and there's no other way to get out of it than to stop and to bring in less destructive methods into your life. So sorry I can't be any more help than that, but look, that's the way it is. Last time I was sober, I tried alcohol-free beers, and they just made me think of real beers. I think that's a problem at the beginning with a lot of people, is they think, well, yeah, I'll go onto the alcohol-free beers, and it just keeps reminding them of beer, right? It just keeps that in their head all the time, and even when they're, so if you can imagine the scenario, you're out with your mates and you're doing all the things that your mates are doing, except you're not drinking, right? They're drinking, they're getting drunk, and eventually, I think it's one of those things that, depending on what you're getting out of it. I think I drank one or two, and then it was sort of at the beginning, and then it was sort of it was one of those things that I saw the danger in it straight away. I thought, I'm not getting anything out of this. I don't really like the taste of it, and there's a danger in me sliding back into the thing. Now I have the odd alcohol-free beer, and to be honest, it doesn't taste like any different to what I was drinking before. The alcohol beers. When I put two beside each other, I noticed the difference. I could smell the alcohol off it, and the alcohol is disgusting, right? But I do enjoy an alcohol-free beer every so often, just because it makes a change. I mean, most of the time I drink water, herbal teas. I bought a juicer, so I drink a lot of juice. Homemade juice, so I buy a bag of apples and I juice the apples, or I juice vegetables, and I make smoothies. I don't drink carbonated drinks like Coke and stuff like that. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 Cokes in the last 5 years, and it's only if there's nothing else there, I'll have a Coke, you know, that kind of thing. But normally I wouldn't do that. So yeah, I wouldn't advise it when you're first starting out with this thing, because as you say, it can sort of act as a reminder and keep you attached to the alcohol. At the beginning, all you want to do is move yourself away as quickly as you can from thinking about drinking, from the drinking behaviour, and the quicker you can do that, the better. So anything that's holding you back, whether it's the words that you use and the thoughts, people that you're hanging around with, the environments, or doing something like this, drinking alcohol-free beer, then you need to sort of think about that at least, and knock it on the head if it's heading you in that direction. So next one comes from John Doe. I've been thinking of quitting for over a year. First, I tried different tactics to moderate. If so, I could keep on drinking. First, I tried different tactics to moderate it so I could keep on drinking, right? So moderation, right, to keep on. Like having lower percentage drinks and trying to regulate my drinking. The next morning, I'd still ended up in the same spot. So obviously with a hangover or whatever, Today is the 16th day that I haven't had any alcohol. I'm starting to feel good about myself and feel like I have a good mindset this time. The only thing now is I'm kind of worried that if I forget the importance and slip again. Thanks for the good content. Keep my mind in the right place. It's what I keep saying about moderation, that if you're a drinker and you're used to drinking, and you're used to drinking to get the buzz, which most people are, right? Then it's very difficult for you to moderate, because you moderate for a while you've got the commitment to moderating. But it's very easy to backslide and to go, yeah, well, tonight I feel like it, I feel like having a couple extra, I deserve it because I've worked all day hard. I deserve it because it's the weekend. I deserve it because it's my birthday. I deserve it because it's my friend's birthday. I deserve it because, right? You'll find an excuse to have more. You go past your moderation amount. And then once you do that once, it's a lot easier to do it the second time, and then the third time, and eventually you just give up trying to moderate. Your behavior is always trying to re-insinuate itself. Even when you stop, the old behavior is comfortable. We feel comfortable doing this stuff. So it's a lot more difficult to think about moderation in the long term, in terms of from now until the day you die, right? Moderation means that you have to moderate now, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 10 years time. You have to keep moderating. And you're going to go through that cycle where, like I said, you'll find an excuse not to moderate on a certain day, and then it becomes easier on the next day. And you'll go back to your own self, and then you'll go moderate again, right? And I used to always find that when I went back on the drink, when I stopped the moderation, that I was worse. I drank more, than when I drank before. I only be a little bit more, but, when you stop drinking forever, right, and you quit drinking, you say, that's it. I don't need this shit anymore. I don't need to put this decomposing pap inside my body anymore, right? Then you only have to do it once. And even though your habit is still going to try and re-establish itself by pushing discomfort on you, it will eventually disappear, right? The habit will become weaker and weaker and weaker, right? Moderation only makes the habit become stronger and stronger and stronger, because each time you try and moderate and you give in, you're putting on yourself a sort of mental defeat, right? And each mental defeat adds up, to a big ball of shit in your head, you know what I mean? That says to you, you can't do this, you must be an alcoholic, you must be this, you must be that, and puts all this down on you. So, yeah, congratulations on your 16 days anyway, and that was 3 days ago, so you're nearly at 20 days now, John. good for you. Next comment from Commando. I've been trying online dating for a while now. A few days ago I had a first date, we met up, started talking. The problem is I've been drinking heavily most nights, far too long. I was hungover and my body beat down, that I was just shaky and nauseous. I was physically hurting so much I couldn't handle it. After 20 minutes I left. I apologised and told her that I wasn't feeling well. Never heard back from her. I don't blame her. I'm such a mess right now. I need to deal with me first. So she was so beautiful, so nice, and I threw it away because I let the booze control my life. I don't even want to think about what else I've missed out on over the years. I'm so fucking angry with myself right now. This has to stop. I'm 48 hours without drink right now. Wish me luck, friends. Well, I wish you the best of luck, first of all. For me, I was absolutely terrible at dating. I was shy. You know, one of the reasons I started drinking in the first place, going out and drinking heavily, was because I was shy, and drinking allowed me to overcome that. You know, so you walk into a pub, you're feeling nervous, you don't want to talk to anyone, you want to get into a corner and sit down and say nothing, and then a couple of pints later you're grand, you know, and able to go out and start talking and feeling better about yourself, you know. And you know, eventually, as everyone knows, it takes much more than a couple of pints to get to that level, you know. I think the couple of pints was always enough to settle me down, but the habit just kept working on me, you know. And once you get to that stage, you just want to get drunk, and that's not a good situation to be in when you're trying to date, you know, unless the person that you're dating is also in the same wavelength, you know. And to be honest, I never liked that, you know. I mean, I know it's fucking hypocritical, but I never liked dating a woman who was getting drunk with me as well, you know what I mean? So it's not right, it's chauvinistic. I mean, at the end of the day, it's basically you see the behaviour in other people, you don't see the behaviour in yourself. So although I was getting drunk and probably acting out in my head, I couldn't see that in myself. I could see what they were doing, you know. And it's all right when you're drunk, but you remember, if you remember the day after, you remember those things. So anyway, I didn't have a great success dating in my youth because of that, you know. And my wife was a drinker, so that's how we met, and it was a good relationship actually. You know, I was lucky that way. And my partner now is a drinker. We met in a pub. We met when I was a heavy drinker, and she worked in the pub, and she would often take me home after the pub. So I was really lucky that she sort of would do those things for me while I was. She wasn't as hypocritical as I was, you know, turning around and saying she didn't like people because they were drinkers. But yeah, I'm lucky that she stayed with me throughout all the time. I mean, she was with me 5 years as a heavy drinker, and she says to me now that I'm such a different person now that I don't drink. You know, I don't know that. I mean, I see that with myself. So, anyway, I just want to say to you that, you know, we're living in a society where many of the meetings that we have are in pubs, you know, and you know, people tend to think that they have to have a drink in order to relax and enjoy themselves and celebrate and all the kind of stuff. And we're so culturally wound up in this bullshit thinking that, you know, it does so much damage. And as you say in your comment there, you know, God knows what other areas of your life you've caused damage in, you know. I guarantee you, everyone that drinks has caused some form of damage at one stage or another in their lives, you know. I mean, hola, buenas. Sorry, it's just a runner coming by there. So yeah. Next comment, last comment today, fellow from Miles Jackson. All I know is underneath the layers of drunkenness, I found myself again that intelligent, sharp, witty, always looking to learn new things, ambitious person. No way would I drink alcohol again. I thought I'd leave it today on that positive note, because that is just the way I feel about myself, you know. Alcohol kills so much about who you are as an individual. You know, at the end of the day, you're poisoning yourself. And you're not only poisoning your body, you're poisoning your mind, your thoughts. You know, they say what you eat is what you are. So the food that you put into yourself is how your body is will construct itself. You know, your body can only use the building tools that you give it. And it's the same thing here. You know, your mind and your thoughts are built on that same principle. So when you put shit into your body and then you try to get goodness out of your body, out of your mind, you know, good thoughts, good deeds, a good life, you're severely hampering yourself. You know, it's like trying to build a house out of ice blocks. You know, first day the sun comes out, fucking house disappears. You know, so you have to use good quality materials. That's why I'm talking about all the time, getting yourself to a level where you're not putting the shit in, right? Alcohol, drugs, any form of drugs, you know, unless you absolutely need to. I'm talking about prescription drugs here. Unless you absolutely need to, because there's no other way of getting around it. You've got a condition where, you know, you need to take a drug, otherwise you're gonna fucking die, or some shit is gonna happen to you. But I mean, I don't even take, if I get a headache, I look at what I'm doing and try and, I mean, most of the headaches that I get are because I'm not watering myself well, you know, or because I'm just overstraining myself at the computer or something like that. So I look at that, try and deal with it that way, but I don't take pills. I don't take pills for anything because it's all shit. Same thing with, you know, the food that you put into your body. It might seem like, you know, that it's a good idea to put that 4-cheese pizza into yourself now, right? But you have to think what that's going to do. I mean, all that is broken down inside your stomach and intestines. It goes throughout your system, and it's broken down to, on a molecular level, molecular level, right? And those molecules are firing around your body and are being used by your body to build things, to repair things, for all different types of functioning that your body has to do. And if you're putting shit in, then all you can expect is shit out. So, you know, I just really liked that comment. I thought, you know, he's just hit it on the nail, that he's gone back to the person that he was before, you know, to that witty person, to that intelligent person who wants to live his life. It's exactly the way I feel. But also know this, that when you quit drinking or you go through any habit change like this, that the effort that you need to put into it from day one of not giving in to temptation, of building up your willpower muscles, of you know, of looking around for all the different areas and peeling the onion and peeling back the layers of all the different problems that you've got to deal with, and looking for solutions to those problems, reading, learning new skills. All that builds up grey matter in your mind, right? And it not only changes the way your brain and reverts it back to what it was before you started drinking alcohol, but it's better, you know, because you're learning all these new skills, and you're much more capable person. You're a much more capable person now than you were before. You're much more capable of dealing with life, right? So, you know, take that on board yourself, that you're not only trying to get yourself back to where you were before, which is virtually impossible, right, from a physical point of view, right, or a mental point of view. I mean, people still learn things when they're drinking, right? You know, it's not that you have this cut-off time when you first start drinking, and you have the cut-off time after you started, and all that in the middle is fucking rubbish. You still learn things, and I think there's certain levels of coping skills that you do learn because you're drinking, right, that you can bring into your life afterwards. But the mere fact of you overcoming this big hurdle in your life is a huge thing, which will benefit you in later life. So look, I'm going to stop it there. It's at nearly 50 minutes. I'm not going to cut this video also. This is going to be up as it is, warts and all, and I hope you like it. I hope you like the whether you're watching this as a video or you are listen to it as a podcast over on iTunes or on the website. Let me know what you think of this kind of. I'm not going to do this all the time, but maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks I'll do a video like this, just talking about different things, rambling on. I mean, I love doing stuff like this. It just means that it's I make the video, tack on the beginning, the ending and stuff like that, and it's all good to go. So if you have any questions at all, as normal, you can send me an email at kevin@alcoholmastery.com. I can't answer all the emails personally, but I'll definitely include some of them in videos like this, and if I can answer them, I will do. If you want to sign up for the Alcohol Mastery starter pack, then come on over to the website and you can get that. It's on the front page. You just give your name and email address, and there's loads of different stuff there just to try and push your mind into the right frame of mind to move forwards, and to try and undo some of the alcohol programming that you've been brainwashed with throughout your life, and to try and give you that extra boost to move forwards. We've also got the Habits Unplugged Mastermind group, right? That's starting as I'm recording this. It's going to be next week. I'll send that information in the newsletter. So as part of the starter pack, you'll be signed up to the newsletter as well. So you'll get that as part of the information there. This is going to be great. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. It's where I'm going to be spending most of my time. There's the mastermind group itself is a forum on the website over on Habits Unplugged. And I'll just be spending a lot of time there. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos that are just exclusive to the mastermind group. I won't be putting them on YouTube or anything else. And I'll be doing regular Q&As, so anything that's asked within the mastermind group will be answered. So as I say, I'll be spending a lot of time in there answering questions and trying to focus the group on moving forwards to the best quality of life that's possible. So I'll leave it there until next time. My name's Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. This is the Alcohol Mastery Podcast, session 15. Good luck to you. Take care of yourself. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Onwards and upwards. Take care. Bye-bye now.